Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Chris.
and we're the leftovers.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
I did not agree to that.
Hey, Chris,
Hey, Mark.
you know what we're going to talk about today?
Only because you told me.
It's a good, I have no idea. You know?
No, you gave me the gist of it.
I did.
Yeah,
Accident.
that's all I got.
Don't like giving out too many gist.
I mean, you come up with these topics, and I come
I
in
do.
here all
Hopped up on energy drink.
and
Arnold Palmer's. Palmer's?
Arnold Palmer.
Say that 3 times fast.
I couldn't say it once slowly. So.
Arnold Palmer.
All right, what? Start us off here.
I think I will. Thank you.
I have to edit this though.
The very first thing we're going to talk about is free. Free, free, and free. You like free? Who doesn't like free? So yeah, say yes, Chris. You like free?
A capitalist society doesn't like free.
Everybody likes free.
You communists.
Without cost or payment. Free. Right?
Correct.
Things that are free. Streaming services.
Those aren't free.
Yes, they are.
What streaming service
Tubi.
is free?
Plex. They're free. I hadn't paid a dime for them, and I'm not stealing anything. Do I watch commercials? Yes.
It's free for who?
Me.
It's not free for Tubi.
What?
Tubi.
I don't care what they do. It's free.
It's free for.
Yes,
But
that's
it's
who
not-
we're talking about. Me.
Okay.
Do you have Tubi?
No, I don't
Yeah,
like the
Plex?
free stuff.
You don't like the free stuff? Okay.
The free stuff doesn't always have the best content. Because
You see me holding back?
No,
I'm holding back.
don't hold back.
I have to.
They
You
don't.
said, look, I have Netflix. I have Prime Video. I have something, Apple TV for the moment. Well, that's a long story. And then the rest of them are free.
Okay.
The only, and I'll repeat the word, the only streaming service that has chips on it is free. Plex.
Okay. That's because you like.
No, what? That's who matters. If my next door neighbor, wants to watch the Waltons all day long, I don't care. Watch it. It doesn't matter if I get the Waltons or not. So for me, and that's who we're talking about, me,
Okay, let's talk about you. We're not going to talk about me. We're going to talk about you.
Plex has chips. California Highway Patrols with an I and S, and they're spelling out the word chips. And so, anyway, when I was a kid, loved the program. It stuck with me, action-packed. Frank Poncherello, John.
All
John.
people I don't know.
That's okay. Watch it sometime. It's a really good program.
Damn good.
But free on top of that. So some people complain because free streaming services will have commercials. I like commercials.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I hate commercials.
And your generation was not used to watching television like mine, where we had commercials.
Actually, I was.
You lived through that?
I grew up having the 4 or 5 major TV. We didn't have cable for the majority of my life.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was 12 or 13 that we ended up getting satellite for the first time. And that was
Remember that
was
story.
just so that we could watch the Minnesota Twins play up in Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's where they play. Are you kidding? Minnesota played in Minnesota. You better watch out. Minnesota played in Minnesota. Where's the Philadelphia Eagles play? Seattle.
Pennsylvania.
So, but you have watched that style of television where you have commercials. Right?
Yes, that was.
And you didn't like it ever. That was not even remembering when. Nostalgia. Remembering when I was 9 and we watched television and had commercials. Commercials give you an opportunity. Go to the bathroom. Go get some snacks. And so you get your mind all straightened out. And then when commercial's over, boom, you're ready. And you got another segment of 12 minutes, commercial, So watching the free streaming services, that just gets me to where the way I used to watch television. The commercials give me an opportunity for snacks. That's what commercials are for.
But with the new way of watching TV, you can pause it.
Yes. Yeah,
So
you
don't
can.
you don't need that immediate stop going into something that has nothing to do with the show. You can pause it,
But
go
I
to the
think
restroom, go do whatever, and come back, and you're exactly
You're
in
there.
that spot. Because most TV shows, when they skip over to the next scene, you still miss 5 to 6 seconds of that
sometimes
show. because of
sometimes
commercials.
they go in reverse and you see that same scene couple of seconds that you just saw prior to a commercial. I don't really like that, but that's how it works.
But I can remember watching shows when I was a kid, and then when I go back to watch them nowadays, because I can stream them, and I get 10, 15 seconds, where, okay, on a 30-minute show, 10, 15 seconds isn't much. But, I mean, that's something you're getting back that you missed during a commercial. It might be something tiny, or it might have been something that you needed to know for the show, but they had to cut it out because commercial.
I think the pause gives you an opportunity to get onto something else. So if I get up from my chair watching a program like you're talking about, hit the pause button, go to the restroom, get a snack. Well, all of a sudden, maybe I won't put some laundry in, and that gets me sidetracked. Well, the dog needs to go out. You see, commercial, you don't
I'm gonna
have
say
that.
something, you're not going to like it.
That's okay.
You're just like my wife.
No, we are different, Chris.
Your parts are different, but you act just like my wife.
That's what the pause does to me, though. Your mind starts to wander.
See,
What else could I get accomplished?
see, I'm not that person. If I'm trying to sit down and relax and do something,
Yep.
I might have to. Say I'm watching a movie.
Breaking Bad,
No, a movie. That's a TV show.
not Breaking Bad.
Say,
Better Call Saul,
it's still a TV show.
El Camino. That was a
I think
movie.
that was a movie. Okay, say watching El Camino. I have to pee, so I'm gonna pause it.
Yep. I hope so.
I'm going to pee and come back.
Get some popcorn.
No, the reason I stopped it was to pee.
Yeah.
And when I'm done peeing, washing my hands, I'm coming back. I'm sitting in my chair.
What if, let's just hypothetical, the animal needs to go outside?
Okay, I can put them
Yeah,
out.
commercial,
See, I'm not like
you have
you.
to hold it.
I'm not like you. I don't have it to where I have to be out there with my animal. I open the door,
I
let him
like
run
to
out.
spend
I'm back
time with
inside.
my animal, Chris. Come on, man.
Weirdo. I'll let them
We're
out.
tight.
I'll let them out if they need out right
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
But I'm coming back. I'm sitting
Okay.
in the chair and watching
What
them.
if your kid needed a Lego something, whatever? They needed something. A commercial does not afford you the opportunity to go get them the Lego set, but the pause button allows you to do that.
Okay, we're fighting for the same thing.
Not really. I'm commercial. You're pause button.
Correct. But
Oh,
what
good.
I'm
You know
saying-
what they say,
what I am saying,
but
is,
you know what they say.
I don't care what they say.
Yes, you do.
They
you
aren't
really
here.
do.
It's you and I.
You do care what they say.
It is you and I.
I have heard stories.
You've
and
heard
you
the
care
wrong stories.
What they say.
You've heard the wrong stories.
They say that's why they make chocolate and vanilla. They do say that.
But going back to it, like you're in that situation. You're like my wife. I hit the pause button. She's going in there. Oh, I just want popcorn.
Cooking dinner.
She'll start cooking popcorn, and then she's like, "Oh, well, I need to go do this laundry, so I'm gonna do the laundry."
That's what the pause button
Oh
allows
wait,
you to
no,
do.
But okay, there's a difference between
Commercial, she wouldn't be doing that.
Yes, you would.
No, she wouldn't.
But
She'd be missing the next police chase on chips.
but But there's the difference, though, is
Bum, 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 bum.
when a movie or TV show goes, you let your mind wander.
Yeah. I think it ought to just shoot straight through. No commercials, no pause. If you got to go, you hold it. Well,
that's
you
a movie theater.
Yeah, and I like that experience. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
I do like movie theater.
We're getting to that.
I like the new movie theater experience.
It lends me to go to sleep. Not that I wouldn't do it in the old style, but the new one, wow.
I hate that. When we went and saw that Sound of Freedom movie, we were forced into one of those old school.
Really?
Old school.
Oh, yeah, you can
Forced
call
into
that
one of
old
those-
school. That's fine. That is
Those
old
crappy
school.
chairs that don't move. Except
Well,
for the
haven't-
seat. You have to push the
haven't-
seat down to sit down.
Haven't we got spoiled? Just in a few years' time.
Yeah. We got reclining seats in majority.
Awesome. Leg room.
Yep.
Everything. You can let the arm up and get cozy with your loved one if you wanted to. It's an option.
There's enough room. You stay over there, I stay over
I
there.
said, I get it. You're married. You got kids. That's how that works.
We got kids. We ain't got enough. We ain't
Right.
got enough float. We don't
there
have
and-
enough alone time.
Right.
Our kids sleep in the same bed with us.
And we're talking about things that are free. Streaming services was the first one, which I enjoy. Free streaming services. Free streaming services are great. There's another one. Rewards members. Are you a rewards member at a Costco or a Kroger or something?
Except for Costco's not free.
Again, you can tell I haven't signed up for any of these. And there's a reason I won't do it. But for some people, save 6% on candy bars. You sign up, you get a little scan tag.
Well, it's like, okay, so Kroger
Thanks for not putting the S on the end of that.
and
You ever heard people say Kroger's?
I hate it.
Good. We're in
there
the
is
same boat on that
There's
one.
no S on
There's
the
no
end of
S on there.
that.
There are people that say Walmart's.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Not plural, the one they're at.
Oh, I know. I know.
Okay. That's
But
all that. Rewards members. All right. So you are a member at something or another?
I think we've got a Kroger card.
Now, when you say we,
My wife and I,
who signed up for
we both did.
it? Same time.
Yeah.
So whose idea was it?
I mean, it was
Leaning her way or your way?
just both of our idea.
Equal. Okay.
'Cause we
You're not going down the road I'm
You're right.
lining you up for.
Because we signed up for it over a decade ago.
Okay.
Right after we got married,
Gotcha.
trying to save money.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what they draw you in with. Now, I buy dog food at a pet store, and I go in there once a month to buy 60 pounds or so. Maybe it's not that much. Feels like it, of her food. And they ask me every time, do you want to sign up for, if you buy 6 bags, the next one's free, right? These things are almost $100 a bag. So
You're spending too much money on dog food.
well, look, the original food she was eating before COVID went up to $100. So I got her the half price stuff, 45, so 48. Got her that stuff. Now, Joe Biden, that stuff is nearly $100. So anyway,
No, I'm okay. You're still spending too much money on dog food.
but I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You know how I got 2 dogs. You know how much money I spend on a bag of food for them?
$6.95,
No,
$20, $12. I don't know.
$26 for
$26,
a 55-pound bag.
Very good. Proud of you. Now, the cats, they get cheap stuff. The dog, she's got hip problems. I'm trying to keep her alive and healthy as long as I can.
Protein that you can get that out of cheaper stuff.
Fish oil, and whatever that other thing is. That's not the point. So when I go, you can cut all that out. When I go to the store, you want to sign up. There's nobody else in line. I'm the only one. Do you want to sign up for our program? You'll get a free sack of food. No, I'm good. Are you sure it's free? No, it's not. Because here's what's going to happen. They're going to sign me up. They're going to get my email. That's what they're after. They're after the email. And so they're going to put my name on an email list and sell it. So they're making money. And the percentage that they're going to give me off, corporate is still going to survive on what they're making. So they can eat that little percentage that they're giving me off, make the money up off of my email address, and everybody's happy, right? Until my emails are inundated with crap, right? Are you okay over there?
I am, but your excuse of why you don't sign up for something like that.
Do you know what an email list sells for? Any idea? No idea? I'll tell you if you want to know. If you don't want to know, I'll just leave it off.
Just tell me.
All right. So, somewhere. Okay. Consumer email list. All right. Per 1,000 sells from $100 to $400 a list. 1,000.
Okay.
That's that's the only reason they're doing it, mind you, is they want to sell these lists. I didn't do research on addresses or cell phone numbers because I'm guessing that's a whole other list and a whole other price. These are just email lists that get sold. I think it ought to be illegal myself. They don't tell you they're going to sell your email address. They just do it. Should be illegal. So you're saying the way I'm looking at it is wrong, according to you.
In my opinion,
Sure.
you're overlooking where you've already given your email to how many different companies?
As many as I want to, not as many as somebody else wants to. If I want to give it to somebody, I will. And I'm good with that. But I don't want the pet food company giving my email to some company in China.
I see you have a cell phone.
Did you see that?
I see your cell phone. Okay.
Are you a detective?
No, stop.
FBI?
Who's your cell phone through?
What do you mean, who's it through?
Who's your provider?
Verizon.
Okay. You had to give them an email, did you not?
That's been 20 years ago. I don't know.
Are you able to get on an account through them? Do you have an online account for
Negative.
You don't?
No.
I highly doubt it because you're going to
I carry Verizon cash money every month to pay them.
Weirdo.
And I'm joking. Of course I have an app.
You have an app and you have an account.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you've given them an email address.
I give it to Verizon.
Yes. And you know what they do with it?
Don't know.
They sell it.
Okay.
You've made house payments.
Just made one yesterday.
And I'm pretty sure you have an online account for that as well. You also have
Are
an
you
email address
peeking?
for that.
You're peeking, aren't
Well,
you?
you showed it to me, so.
Hey, here we go.
But
It's a party.
you have an email account for that. It might be the same
Yes.
one as Verizon,
Yes.
but you still giving them an email address.
Because I chose to.
And you know what they do with that? They sell that.
Mm-hmm.
They sell any information that is legal by the U.S. government, which is an email address, phone number, and your name. So just because you don't give it to the pet food place doesn't mean that your information's not being sold. It just might not be sold to these 2 or 3 companies that the pet store sells to, but Verizon and the mortgage company doesn't know.
And other free things are
what I was going off of is just because you don't give your email to the pet food store does not mean your information's not being given to somebody or sold to somebody.
Yes.
Because anywhere that a company can make money, they're going to do it.
Yes. Free is not always free. Do you agree to that?
Correct.
And why is that?
Because something's never actually free.
Mama always said,
My mama said,
free is never free.
free. There's always a price for free.
And there's a price for freedom. Freedoms. That's our next topic.
Freedom.
What are some freedoms we all share or should share? One is
Freedom of speech.
to live.
Okay.
Free to life. We'll get to speech. Free to life. Be able to live freely.
Well, not everybody's free to live.
We should be.
Should be, but we
Yes.
don't.
There's a lot of freedoms we have a lot of freedoms we should have, and there are chains on them. But we should have these freedoms that we
Okay.
have. Recognition as a person
When should you be guaranteed to be recognized as a person?
should be recognized as a person. I know we live in strange times. I get it. But I think times have always looked strange and always will look strange in the future. But we're worried about what we're living in. And there are some strangeness around us. Some people do not want to be recognized as a human.
Who doesn't want to be recognized as a person? Or
Not
a human?
me. Not me.
You don't want to be recognized as a human?
No, I do. You said who.
Who doesn't?
Right. And that's not me. I want to be recognized as a
But
human.
who doesn't want to be recognized as a person?
I'm glad you asked. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he shared with me that there was this lady, and I'm not giving out names. We'll just say lady.
Janice.
Sure. Maybe that is. No, let's don't even say that. Could be. Just lady. Human. Maybe. That was giving out naked horse rides at her house.
She was naked or the horse was naked?
She was the horse
Okay.
with a mane.
Okay.
She's giving out free horsey rides, and she is the horsey, and he is the rider. Some people don't want to be recognized as human.
So furries.
That's the next thing to come to my mind.
Oh, goodness.
But isn't that just escapism?
It
Getting away from whatever issues you have for a minute or for ever how long a horse ride lasts.
Well, the whole thing about furries and
Furbies.
all these
You know what a Furby is?
all these people that are trying to be something different.
Something they're not. Or, well, I guess they are.
Well, okay, so I won't say all of, but the majority
Some.
of the transgender stuff is people that are having a hard time in their life, and they think, oh, I want to be accepted by something, so they decide that they're going to change up their gender. Because they see that everybody that is joining the transgender movement is being accepted.
I
Or
hate
being
to-
forced to be accepted by...
I think we did this before, but what about, I'm going to bring in alcohol. And I look, if a person goes out every night to get drunk and lose who they are to be something they're not, are they not getting the same outcome? You're not who you are. You're something else. Probably skirting around the real problem and trying to cover it up with this, that, or the other.
Yeah. I mean, that's why. That's honestly why I think that the suicide rate in the transgender community is so high. It's because these people think that, okay, if I change my gender or I try to be someone I'm not, my problems are going to go away. But they're not. And instead of trying to fight your problem head on, you're trying to skirt around it, and it just only makes things worse majority of the time. And we're being inundated with the news media, with
not if you don't watch it,
television shows, with music. We're being inundated, us regular people who
I'm a regular person
who doesn't like to watch Chips. But
have you ever watched Chips?
No.
You need to.
No, I don't. But what I was getting to is we're, if you look in the news, if you look in popular culture,
Boo.
whether it's TV shows, movies, music, it's inundating you with being accepting. And the thing about it is
it now?
It is.
You're watching the wrong shows.
I try not to watch these shows.
What's wrong with accepting people? Silence.
When you get to the point where you're hurting somebody by accepting freely what they want, it's kind of a hindrance. It's not really a helpful thing. If you're accepting somebody who's trying to get away from their problems, when the problem's not going to go away.
Most everybody's trying to get away from their problems.
Most everybody. But the majority of people don't change who they are to get away from it.
I think they do.
Majority of the time, people we have to go against our want of getting away from it, and we've got to fight it head on.
Chocolate and vanilla. Freedoms.
But, yeah.
Remember that song, Freedom?
And I'm not saying that the people that are trying to transition or anything don't deserve the same freedoms I do. They do.
Yes.
I just don't. My view of the thing is.
Of the thing? What's the thing? What was we talking about?
People have the freedom to do things that they want.
Oh yeah, to be a person.
without my input. I'm not saying that these people aren't people. I'm not saying they don't have freedoms.
Deserving of that freedom.
But
they are.
But what I'm saying is
you think it hinders you somehow that someone wants to become a woman. I don't get that. How does that hurt you? It's hurting them, yes. That's the way you see it. But how does that encompass you?
Say this woman over there wants to become a man.
I did it the other way.
Okay, say that man over there wants to become a woman. Yes, it's hurting them, but at the same time, if I don't, in the outside world, if I don't recognize that man as a woman, I'm now getting inundated.
How do you even come in contact with that? I mean, if you met a transitioning person on the street or in a store or Kroger.
No, we're not. I'm not going to even do a hypothetical.
Okay.
I have a cousin that's married to a transition person.
Mm-hmm.
She's married to somebody who.
But you're a little closer to that situation than I think how I'm looking at it.
You're looking at just somebody off the street.
Yeah. Because if it's more personal, you're going to understand a lot more about it. If you just encountered a transitioning person at a store that maybe she or he is the worker checking you out, beep, beep, how that works. then you said, I appreciate it, sir. And they say, I'm not a sir. Oh, excuse me, ma'am. It's that simple. You're not going to make a huge deal out of, well, I thought you was a sir, but you're really a ma'am. You're just going to say, I'm sorry, and move on.
Correct. But with the...
That's all the interaction y'all are going to have. How does that hurt you? Though?
If that is the only thing, okay, that's all well and good. Mm-hmm. But we're now to the point where you have to be accepting. And if you accidentally...
That's just not true, though. You don't have to be accepting. No, you don't. You can hate all you want in this country. There's a lot of hate in this country. I
never said I hated them.
I'm just saying, if you want to take it to extremes, you can hate all you want to. That's allowed. But there's consequences for hate.
Yes.
And you have to live up to that.
Okay.
Gotta love everybody, Chris.
Where did this I don't love everybody come from? Just because I don't agree with somebody doesn't mean I don't love them.
I know that. Before we run out of time on our hamster wheel over here, freedoms.
Are we ever actually going to get to what we were going to talk to?
It's on here. It's on the list.
But our time's going to run out here soon.
The hamster is going to quit running at some point. Recognition as a person, not a horse. Equal and fair criminal justice. Something we don't think about a whole lot. Equal criminal justice, because everybody is not perfect. Anyway, we're gonna screw up. We're gonna mess up. And with that, we deserve the right to criminal justice. Whatever our laws say, we need to, as close as we can, stay to them. If there's a law we think is wrong or unjust, we have a system to where we can, work against that and say, hey, that's wrong, and that's how we have our justice system anyway. But so there's a couple of programs I watch. Bull is one of them that I know it's an older program. I get it.
Bull's not that old. I used to watch that.
Yeah, well, I've just started, and I like the actor. Can't think of his name. He played
DiNozzo on NCIS,
which you know nothing about that program, I'm sure.
No, it's not like my dad constantly watches every episode.
It's got it in
multiple
got it
times.
in a loop. Got NCIS
yes,
in
he
a
does.
loop.
That's all he watches at the house is NCIS.
Wow.
I'm sorry. That and Blue Bloods.
Blue Blood. Well, he's just started that in here.
No, restarted it. He's already watched it like twice.
So, from watching the program, I think I know everything that goes on in the courtroom now. But it gives you a little bit of an insight of what our criminal justice system looks like. Now, one thing I have noticed, I'm up to season 4 or 5, they've never lost a case. I'm sure that's not realistic.
Nope.
But
you know who that show's based on, don't you?
I'm going to go with no.
Dr. Phil.
He is. Yeah, he's one of the writers. How about new? New. Freely able to freely move about. Should be able to have those freedoms.
I'm not driving. I'm traveling. Gosh.
Does that not get on your nerves? You've seen the TikTok videos? Yeah.
No, I don't watch.
You haven't seen them?
No, I've seen them on YouTube. The full sovereign citizen crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just giving the police a hard time. It's all that is. It's trying to get them into a situation where you can get a payday. That's all that's for.
Well, half the time they don't get a payday.
Sometimes.
Sometimes they do because a cop messes up.
He gets tore out of the frame and jerks them out of the car. Beats the crap out of them. Then they get their payday.
Sometimes. The majority of the stuff I've seen, they done it all by the book.
The sovereign citizen did, or the police?
No, the police did.
Police, yeah.
That's the majority.
They're used to it now. They've got.
Yeah. I've I've seen there's a YouTube channel I watch where I think it's called Audit the Audit.
Don't you repeated yourself.
It's Audit the Audit.
You did. Okay.
Yes. He shows, I wouldn't say it's 50, it's more 75 or more 70-30, where majority of the time he does show people being stupid, trying to get away with stuff, but he also shows where there's cops that are big-headed and think that they know everything and try to screw over people.
Yeah. They're out there. Yeah.
Not every cop
is good, but I think there's more good cops than bad cops.
I don't believe in, I think it was ACAB or whatever, which was stupid.
I don't know what that is.
It stood or stands for all cops are bastards.
Good night.
But
I remember a song back in the day.
Well, then that's on the left side. On the right side, you've got back the blue, back in all the police. No, I'm not all of them. I'm not backing every police officer.
Wrong is wrong.
Yeah,
right is right.
If there's a police officer out there,
Rodney King, just ask Rodney King. Is he still alive?
I don't know.
I don't know if he died or not. That was terrible. That was just awful. You can't say those cops were right.
No.
There's nothing right about it. And so right, left, or indifferent, everybody ought to say, that's wrong.
We had an argument, I guess it was last week, about the George Floyd stuff.
Me?
We did.
We did?
Yes. But the one thing that we agreed on was the cops were a-holes, and a lot of the stuff they did was wrong. And they deserved to be
punished.
Mm-hmm. I will never fully just back an entire thing.
No.
Just like the Republican Party. I think there's good Republicans out there.
There's good.
But I'm not backing all of them.
There's
the
bad.
majority of the politicians on both sides, the majority of the politicians are corrupt, evil people.
And so used to lying that it just comes out like no problem. And we know that as citizens. It's what we hear from politicians usually is not true.
Yeah.
That's a shame that our republic runs that way, but
well, part of it is. We're going off on another tangent here.
You are. I'm staying right on the book.
We're going off on
freedoms we have.
As people, okay, we'll go with freedom. People have the freedom to not care. People have the freedom to just
care too much.
Go along and get along.
Mm-hmm. That's an option. It's usually a good one for the most part.
Can be, but I mean,
people can get carried away with I'm going to have a march this weekend, and next weekend we've got a cause for this, and the week after that. You know, that can get whatever the word is. Help me out with the word, Chris.
Overwhelming? I don't know.
Overwhelming. I like that. That you could carry, just like if I don't care about any of that, that can get over, you know. You see what I'm saying? I really can't put it, for a lack of words, for 1 minute. Either way could be
overwhelming.
That's really not the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, but so I mean, people want to be happy. They don't want to be put in uncomfortable situations. So
speak for yourself. I love uncomfortable situations where I can't come up with a word that I'm trying to think of. That's very uncomfortable right there. Freedoms we have, Chris. Freedom to move. Freedom to own property. We should have freedoms to own property.
We should have property. What do you consider property?
Well, you can look at it like a shed on a quarter acre in rural Oklahoma.
All I was going to say is we've got to be careful in what we say property is.
Not people. People's not property.
People are not property. No. Well, I mean, people are not property. No,
never.
At the same time, back in before the Civil War,
but if you turn yourself into a horse, are you now property?
That's a question. Whenever people dehumanize other people, you're usually in the wrong way.
Yep. You're right. Freedom of opinion. Didn't you already say that, sort of? Freedom to have an opinion.
I think we've been using that this whole time.
Yeah. We'll skip that one. Quit picking your nose.
I can't help it. They taste so good.
Freedom to take part in government. So many people complain about the American government because we're Americans. That's what we know the most of. People complain about our government, yet they won't spend the time or effort to watch, hear, make phone calls, email, watch how our government works and try to change it or understand it, I guess is a lot, because we spend so much time working in our jobs, working in our homes, working to get the kids to exercise class, gym class, and this, that, and the other. And the whole time, we don't give the time to understand how our government works. We won't watch C-SPAN. I've said this probably 100 times.
Well, half the time, there's nothing on C-SPAN.
There's something on there. But, okay, let's say...
I said half the time.
Watch it the other half. Don't watch it the half where nothing's going on. Watch the half where something's happening.
All the hearings and stuff that goes on, the votes.
That would give you more of an understanding of how the government works versus just complaining about it.
You're talking to me like I don't know this. You're talking to me like I don't already know this.
Talking to me.
I'll listen to...
We'll listen. Freedom to work. Freedom to work, Chris.
I don't want that freedom.
That's a good freedom. Think about if you could not work.
Yes, I know.
What if your government says you're not free to go out and get any job? You are
have to do this.
You are a trash collector.
Yep.
That's what you're doing from now till you're 72 and a half years old.
To your dying days.
Then we'll find you something else. But we have the freedom to go and choose what we want to do. If we want to be a car washer, be a car washer. Washer with a R. Washer with no R. You can do it either way. Chocolate, vanilla. Either one. They're both good.
Chocolate and chocolate.
Chocolate and vanilla. The freedom to rest.
I have to edit this episode.
Rest and leisure time. Think for a second. Think if all we did was work. Somebody said to us, you've got to work, and you got to work, and then you're going to sleep, and then you're going to work. What about Saturday? Guess what you're doing on Saturday?
Working.
What if that was our life? That would be very miserable.
Work.
Maybe somehow you get used to it. And I couldn't. I've got to have a day to open my mind, chill out.
All work and no play makes Mark a dull boy.
Is that how that goes? I figured it was something that rhymed with play went in there. All work and no play. Say. Free to worship. Freedom to worship.
Yep.
I like the idea that not only I can go to my local synagogue or church building or church.
I think if they've been listening this far, they know we're Christian.
Or house visit or open field or television, wherever I want to worship, I can in this country.
Not in every country.
No. But we can really worship.
And if someone, it for granted.
We do. You're exactly right.
Not just this one, but I mean, a lot of our freedoms people in this country take for granted.
But until they're gone, and then it's like, what just happened? I should have watched C-SPAN.
But that's
they were telling us for 3 years they're going to take that away, and they did, and here we are. How do I get them back? It's harder to get them back once you lost them than to appreciate them while you have them.
Once you give your freedoms away,
apparently you didn't care about them.
No,
you weren't checking up on them. One of the freedoms that come to my mind recently, I went and watched a movie,
Let me guess. You watched some movie that had to do with freedom.
Song of Freedom, 1936. Did you see that one? Took place in 1700
No,
Africa. You didn't watch it? Song of Freedom?
I didn't watch that. I watched The Sound of Freedom.
Well, I saw that one too. Sound of Freedom 2023,
Actually, did you know that that movie was made 5 years ago?
5 years ago. Mm-hmm.
It was held on to by Disney until it was bought by Angel Productions.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun fact.
It is. I don't have. It's not real fun. It's a fact.
It's fun to me. Leave me alone.
So, the movie gist at the beginning, I had
This is
read
The Sound of Freedom, correct?
Sound of Freedom. Yeah, not Song of Freedom. That's a total different movie. Watch it. Watch it sometime. I'd enjoy it. Sound of Freedom. The movie gist at the beginning, Tim, you know his last name?
Ballard.
Very good. No notes.
Ballard.
No notes. Very good. Tim.
Tim Ballard, yes.
He's a real guy, by the way.
Yes, he.
Not just made up. He's a real guy. But in the movie, he's played by Jim Caviezel. Jim Caviezel.
Yes.
He's a different guy.
Yes. He played Jesus Christ in the movie The Passion of Christ.
He did that.
And I haven't seen that movie yet.
Really?
Yeah. I was too young when it came out for my parents to take me to see it.
Was it that long ago?
Yep.
Really?
And I just...
Like, how old? 10? So?
When did
I don't
Passion-
know. I was
I'm
sitting
gonna
there
look
thinking
that
about
up.
it. Feels like to me it wasn't that long ago. Wow. Yeah. It was a minute. And my goodness, who could play Jesus in a movie?
2004.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Wow.
2004. So this is 2023. That was
19 years. No? Yeah, 19 years.
Yep.
19 years ago. You were 11. That's almost like 10.
Well, I wasn't going to get.
And you still
my
haven't
age.
watched it?
No.
It's a it has
Mel Gibson as the director.
it does have no words. What do you call it when you read the words?
Subtitles.
Subtitles. Thank you.
Because they try to
Subtitles.
use the.
And man, it gets
Yeah, but they were trying to use
I get it.
old Hebrew.
But I don't speak that.
No one does.
Makes it difficult.
Yes. Well, some people might speak it. I don't know of anybody
I'm
that
not.
does.
I'm not speaking it anytime soon. You never know what might come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you listen to this podcast, you know there's no telling what's coming out of your mouth.
So he plays a government
Homeland Security.
government agent who goes on a mission to rescue children from sex trafficking in Colombia. Not Columbia, Tennessee.
Cartagena.
Colombia.
The country.
Yes. So for me, and you can give yours on this, it opens up with a little girl playing a drum in her room in Colombia.
I don't think it was a drum. I think she was just drumming on something.
Like a drum to me. Did you see it at the end? It's a drum.
At the end, yes. But
It's
you're
the
talking about
same
the
one.
beginning.
It's the same. My whole point was that
Excuse me.
So the camera zooms in the beginning, goes into her room. She's sitting on the bed playing on the drum thing. And then at the very end of the movie, the camera's at the same spot in her room, zooms out.
With her
It's
playing
the
drum again.
exact same camera, and she's returned home. Now, there's a lot that took place between there, but I thought one of the coolest camera jobs for
Was that zooming in and
that
out?
in and out was so, and I guess everybody caught that, but I thought that was really cool to say, camera zoom in, we're in the story, camera zoom out 2 hours, some odd minutes later, we're in the same spot. Everything's good. But not everything's good. When you can say zoom in, zoom out, but
that
man,
that storyline is done.
what all took place in that, and long-lasting effects and
Yes.
all that kind of thing. But for me, besides that, the dad carries the kids to the talent agency. I guess that's what that is, and
Spoiler alerts.
leaves the. Hey, if you hear us talking about this movie, all 6 of you,
5.
you should have already watched it. So when lost my train of thought. So when he drops the kids off at the quote unquote agency, the lady's like, no.
No stage parents.
Nobody comes in.
Yeah.
I'm at the movie with my son, and I'm poking him with my elbow saying that would never happen. But I don't live in Colombia, third world country.
Except for
and
that part takes place in Tegucigalpa, Honduras.
wherever. If you watch the movie, you can call me and correct me.
You don't have to because I'm correcting you here.
It's right. So when he leaves the kids and then returns and everybody's gone, heart is ripped out of my chest. I'm sure that was the job that it was supposed to do, and it worked. I was like, oh my. Imagine walking in there and nothing.
I don't want to imagine it. I did when I watched the movie, and I'll admit it. I started tearing up.
That is just wow. I believe, and I don't know this because I do have kids, but I believe even people who have never had children would have to sit there and think for a second. There's no words for that. There's 0 words for that of what took place there. And then as you get into the movie and realize why those children are stolen, that's a lifelong ruining. I mean, even if you got your kids back,
they're mentally scarred for life.
Yes.
But you also have to think about it, though, is we know this stuff is happening, and we're not just us as a people, but even our governments, how little they're actually doing to...
I'm sure there's some behind the scene. I hope there's behind the scene things going on that we don't know about. Maybe can't be said out loud, but they're still taking place. I have to ask the question. I have to ask this question. And I know there's no answer for this between me and you. It's just wow. As I watched that movie, my question, what makes a grown man want to have sex with a child? What is broken in you that you want to have sex with a child? Something is jacked up. I'm not going to be able to answer that. I hope nobody could answer that. But just to try to get in the mind of some grown guy that wants to sexually get into a child. I'm all about loving folks. You've heard me week after week. Ain't got a lot of love for that.
No. But that goes to the loving of the person and not of the sin.
But they have affected this child in a way you can't take back.
And you cannot fix.
No. And you can get around it and live with it, but all the hurt, everything that took, even if these children live out of this, because when they're done with them, who knows what takes place? You're like, oh, you're 13.
No, I've
gone.
I've listened to interviews with Tim Ballard, and he talks about that when these kids age out, once they're used up and aged out of that market,
they get into prostitution probably, or that one guy in the movie
from what I heard, some of them, they just use as prostitutes, but some of them they use to harvest their organs. Because people will pay high dollar for a kid's organ to be used to replace something.
But what? Me watching that movie, I don't live in a everything's great world. I know there are problems out there. I get it, and not a lot of people I encounter seem like they're from the rough side of the tracks or whatever. We're all kind of middle of the road people. I cannot imagine encountering someone that desires to want to have sex with a child. I can't get into the understanding of that. I don't want to. I don't want to understand it. But where do you come from in your mind? What place do you come from where that's a desire for you? Chocolate cake, that's a desire. Meatloaf, desirable. A new car, the new car smell. A new job, maybe a new haircut. All those things are desirable. Sex with a child? That's nuts. That's just nuts.
Yeah. But there's still people out there that they fight for trying to have the ability to do that kind of stuff. I don't even like saying it because
it's just gross.
Yeah.
If that's still a word nowadays, it was a word when I grew up. What? People still say gross.
Yes, people do. Okay. People do still say gross.
Just checking. I was born in the 1900s.
So was I.
Ooh. So if we middle class guys and majority of everybody we know middle class, what do we do to help this problem? Because the way I look at it, the desire is coming from men with money. And
no, not all of it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So these guys that can import children from a third world country, that's not cheap. So in order for them to get their desires, it's going to cost them something, whether they go to a place where they all meet up or they actually have them imported themselves. That's going to cost some money. What do we do as middle-aged, but
you're middle-aged.
I'm not middle-aged. No, I'm only middle-aged if I live to 102.
So you're past middle-aged.
I'm past it. You're middle-aged.
Don't remind me.
So, what do we do as a, whatever you classify us as? I don't really like all that classification business, but in our small world that we live in, what do we do to help to help some child or a trillion, whatever? How do we help that group out?
I mean, that's a hard question to answer because us being, I'll say it, we're both middle class.
Mm-hmm. Middle class. Mm-hmm.
We don't have any, or we don't have a lot, or if any, hard money that we can set aside to give to these organizations that are going and helping these kids in these third world countries.
I think that movie should be shown on a loop on one of our regular channels that everyone has for free. I think they ought to show it and just give some awareness that there's a child out there right now that's getting molested against their will and to someone else's pleasure.
Yep.
that
and then it's being recorded.
see, that's not in my world. I don't know anything. I know that exists, but before I watched that, it wasn't a real, like, there's a lot of children being molested. But that just gives you an idea. Once your mind starts wandering around that, you think, my goodness, this is children. They have no defense.
Correct.
And for a grown person, a group of grown people to take advantage of that, I don't think prison is good enough. I mean, I don't think it's hard enough.
Okay.
There you go. For them.
Okay. What we can do as people like us, you've got 2 kids that are grown out of school. I've got 2 kids that aren't even in school yet. What we can do is fight to not have, just for our community, not have sex pushed on our kids.
Yeah.
I know you don't think that it's as widespread as it is, but it's been proven, having certain books in our schools that are pushing, I mean, they're pushing sexuality on kids, not changing genders or anything. There are books in schools. See if I can pull it up here.
I know there are pockets of, I want to push an agenda on children. I know that happens. I just don't think it's super widespread. I do think it happens. Yes.
But you don't have to think that it's widespread to take care of the problem.
Well, until I watched this, I didn't know this was a thing like it is. It's super gigantic.
But what I'm getting at is you don't think that having these books in the schools are widespread. Mm-hmm. It's not in my community. Why do I care?
Right.
Because you don't want it spreading to your community.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't. So you stop it when it's small before it gets larger and larger, and you end up having these things
show up in your town.
Show up in your school.
Not in my small town, baby.
Where there's a book. There's one book that's giving kids, minor kids, instructions of how to sign up for Grindr and Tinder.
Okay. How is that not just wrong?
It is.
Why can't the what's the upper ones at the school, the faculty, or what do they call the upper echelon of your school? Why don't they just shut that deal down? Unless they're just crooked. I mean, unless they're just weird too. You better know who's leading.
It's the ideology. That's what I'm getting to is when it comes to transgender stuff.
What does kids need to know about? What'd you say, Grindr?
Grindr.
That doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like something they need.
Do you know what Tinder is?
It seems like I've heard of it.
It's supposed to be a dating app, but majority of the time that it gets used is for people to go. It's for hookup culture.
Why do kids need to know that?
Grindr is just the gay.
That sounded like sex of some kind.
Yeah,
kids don't need to know that.
No, but that's
Legos and
that's what's getting pushed on to our kids now. Is sex is
it? But let me ask you. Years ago, there was a big deal about Teletubbies were pushing a gay agenda and all this mess.
Yes, the guy who played Tinky Winky was a homosexual man.
But they weren't. The show itself wasn't pushing anything. Did you ever? I watched it. I didn't see anything about it. Said
I would have to watch it if my sister wanted to watch it.
Right. I had kids that were.
Yeah,
real young at the time. I didn't watch it because I wanted to watch it. They wanted to watch it. They're like, "Oh no, there's something scandalous about this."
There was creepy elements to it. The
little kid in the sunshine.
Yes, that was
it's
creepy.
Weird. You okay? Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's a weird show.
Yes, I know your views on Gene Wilder.
The original Gene Wilder. Yes. Teletubbies got nothing on that guy. But I didn't see anything about that show that was risque. And so I'm at the question, is this school books or library books, is that just as like, did someone come up with an idea that something they read in a school was risque and now let's shut it all down? Or is it a legit, like, this is starting to move and we need to shut it down now?
Say that one more time. You confuse me with all your Teletubbies and stuff.
That was just
yes, I know.
preface. Okay. So, when the Teletubby scandal was happening, it really wasn't a thing. So, my question is this or this. With the school book thing you were talking about, is it a Teletubby thing or is it an O.J. Simpson thing? Is it kind of, it could be something, but it's not, or it's a real deal and it could get bigger?
It's a real deal.
That's my question.
Because there was a teacher in, I can't remember where she was, but she was forcing the kids.
She was in her skin.
The teacher was forcing the kids to read a book called This Is Gay.
That's wrong.
Which is the book that teaches kids how to sign up for Grindr and Tinder.
That's wrong. How does she keep her job?
Because, I mean,
there has to be a whole school way of looking at things.
You can't call these people pedophiles anymore. You have to call them minor attracted persons.
Pedophiles?
Yeah.
Same.
Well, they're trying to get added into the LGBTQ crap. They're trying to add an M for
too many letters.
You know.
Too many letters.
But that's part of the problem is we're trying to be accepting of everybody when.
You know what? White, Christian, small town, short guys. If
people
we,
like you,
if we made up a lettered organization,
we did. We call ourselves crackers. We all
we would
Cracker
be
Barrel.
Made fun of. It would be a joke. You know, it wouldn't be serious at all. I would probably laugh at it.
Okay, in my view, the biggest problem of all of this is people all the time say, it's the white man's fault. It's the white man's fault. We've got to make up for all of the stuff that the white man did to us. And it's like, can we not just say what this was is wrong? What this is wrong. What this is wrong.
Regardless who did it.
Yes.
You know what they'll say? We said that because we're white.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we said. Not we said it because we meant it, but we said it because we're white.
But that comes to the point where...
You know how many children are slaves in this world? Sexual slaves in this world?
There are more slaves in the world now than there were during the time.
Because there's more people. There's more slaves. But I don't see a gigantic movement towards saving our children across this world. I don't see any movement. And it just really saddens me. It does. Breaks my heart that there's a child, much less what I'm thinking the number is gigantic. It's getting molested, hurt, traumatized, probably killed in this world for something they had zero to do with.
What gets to me though is now we're trying. Well, I say we're trying. We are being told by the populars or the elites out there that we have to be accepting of all this stuff being taught to our kids, which is sexualizing our kids, which is then pushing forward for. They're trying to get us to accept more and more of this stuff.
It ain't working with me, pal.
It's not working with me, but it's working for people.
It's working on somebody.
There are videos of these drag shows where these women, I say these women, well, it's mainly single mothers who are taking their young children to these drag shows and these gay parades where
You say young mothers,
young kids,
but
these mothers,
young mothers taking the children.
single mothers. Well, I mean, there's majority of it.
See
Yes,
the
it's single
problem?
mothers. Yes, that's part of the problem. But there's families, mother and a father, that are taking these kids to.
Yeah, let's mix the kid up more than they're already going to be.
The Dallas Gay Parade, whatever you want to call that.
Never been to it.
I saw somebody.
What's
that
the
was
name of it?
What? The Dallas Gay Parade.
I
Whatever.
have no idea.
They were. Somebody sent a journalist down there, and they were showing
Geraldo?
videos of families staring at, watching the parade, going to all these booths. These booths have graphic pictures of men having sex with each other, and it's just out there for the kids to see. There's
You don't need graphic pictures of men and women having sex, much less.
there's women walking around with no clothes on. There's men walking around with no clothes on.
Not necessary.
There's floats with men simulating sex
Not
up on
necessary.
a float for these kids to see.
No.
But we are not condemning it.
I am right now.
I'll condemn it, yes. But what I'm saying is
The
we don't have
powers
enough-
that be are not.
the powers that be.
Because they want all inclusive.
Yes, they want
Like when
to
you
be
go on a cruise and you want the all inclusive,
the all-inclusive package has everything.
The all inclusive that has everything.
But the thing about
our
it is, though, their all-inclusive is not inclusive. They want you to accept the abnormal, but anything that we consider as normal, which could be a white man, white woman, black man, black woman, those aren't as accepted now because they're not part of the whatever community.
Yeah.
They're just what we consider normal people. And all it is doing is hurting not only our country, but it's hurting the people.
I think this is a world issue, to be honest with you. I don't think it's just here.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Because you look at Sweden and Norway, all the countries that you have
Belgium?
well, no, I'm talking about the Nordic countries that the communists say we need to be more like. People like Bernie Sanders, we need to be more like the Nordic countries. They had to tell him to stop saying that they were communists because they're not.
Right.
But they tried the whole giving whoever wanted their sex changed, let them do it, whatever. They had to quit that because they realized it's not helping anything.
Yeah.
The problem is in these people's minds. And if we don't take care of the mind, no matter what we do to their body is going to do anything.
Yep. Let me ask you, I hear the last few years, I've heard a lot about counseling. Do we have adequate amount of counselors to counsel all of the counselees? No, we don't.
I can't say that. What I will say is we don't have the access to it that should be there.
Do you think there is a way to self-counsel?
No.
You don't?
No.
Really?
When there's something going on with your head,
Well, with the use of our technologies, not just you talking to you, but you maybe having a conversation on a
they've got
device.
things where you can meet with a therapist over Skype or
Yeah.
phone call or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Having the ability.
That's kind of what I was talking about.
What I think the problem is
Moolah.
moolah.
But to Skype someone on a phone, You're not talking about a lot of money, but the counselor's time.
Are you?
Counselor's
Yes, the
time.
counselor's time. You got that's what.
Yeah. And so if you go to the lesser counselor, the cheaper one, are you getting that much help? Question mark.
Where's their cheap counselor?
Well, I'm going to say from my use of lawyers over the years that if you have a cheap lawyer, you get cheap lawyer.
Yeah.
If you pay
Well,
good money, you get a lawyer that will return your phone calls. If you pay a lot of money, they still probably will return your phone calls. So the way I'm looking at it, a counselor, if you've got a cheap counselor that it's not so expensive, are they really that good? Are you going to get any help? I mean,
I can say yes because the cheapest counselor that I've had therapy sessions.
I could tell.
I went to one counselor who was accredited by all these schools and was, I think it was $250 an hour. I did that once, saw the price, and said,
That's the same price my lawyer was on the phone, $250 an hour.
"Yeah,
No joke.
I don't doubt it."
That's
I said
nuts.
I saw them once, saw the price that I had to pay, and I said, "I'm
I'm
coming
done.
back."
I got my $275 worth. I'm done.
Then I found a place near where I live
Let me ask you something.
that's
So
$85.
you've been to a counselor.
Yes.
Do you think you do the heavy lifting in a counselor's office meeting with you? You do the heavy lifting as the one with the problems. They're listening, but they have the knowledge to work you around a way to
Well,
help you understand how to help you. Am I right?
they're sort of like a supervisor in the role of you've got the heavy work on your back.
Yep.
You've got that load that you're carrying around. They are just trying to find the best way to help you get where
Offload.
you're going.
Offload that load.
Well,
They're
sometimes,
gonna
yeah.
help
Sometimes it's just you're not really able to lift that burden off, but you can help. Instead of walking in zigzag lines, they're trying to help you get on the straight path to get from A to B instead of having to take all these detours.
Gotcha. And so you think it's a helpful thing to go to a counselor?
It can be. I mean,
I just can't see from us talking about the movie we watched over the past week. I can't understand a counselor helping one of these children at 22 years old, possibly getting into a situation to where they are working and productive and able to see a counselor. How in the world do you work around that as a 4, 5, 6-year-old getting raped over and over, and now you're gonna live with that? I mean, I don't think there's a way around that. It's a part of you,
Absolutely.
and to know, it just infuriates me that a grown man would take advantage of a child. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. I don't care how many times I say it. That will not register with me. Never will it be okay with me. God forbid I ever come in contact with somebody that done that.
I mean, there's no telling if you already have.
I didn't know it.
Well, yeah, that I'm not saying that you knew.
It's not like they're walking around with their hands up. I'm a child molester. It's
Yes.
me. You know.
because in society we're taught that that's such a negative thing that you're not gonna go around saying, "Hey, I do
Look at
this,
me."
I do that." No,
No.
you're gonna keep it because it is such a terrible thing.
Yes.
This was a very emotional
Mm-hmm.
topic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's enough for today. I think we'll regroup and try to come back at this or a next topic another time.
Yes, we will.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.